The teleprompter keeps cutting off the initial first sentence, so instead of title of the video, it just says tits. That's just how it starts.
But I do want to know where you are.
Okay. We know what's coming. We know that I'm going to talk about things, and those things might be spoiled. And therefore, because they're going to be spoiled, I'm going to have to give a spoiler warning. And we could go through the whole process of me escalating this, showing my descent into insanity, to go through the entire process of showing how much this has begun to wear on my psyche, and therefore, of course, we need to show the spoiler warning. Okay, I didn't expect you to turn off the lights. Why'd you do that?
Chilled them out.
Spoiler warning, go. It's spoiler time. It's spoiler time. It was a very genuine reaction. I saw you like stretching your arms out and I was like, what is she doing? I can't, I gotta focus, I'm committing to the bit, and then you just turned off the lights. So today we're talking about a concept which I think has been in my mind for a while, but the ability to actually put it into play has been very, very difficult. Like, I wasn't sure how I wanted to talk about it, and I think I figured out what I wanted to say. The title of this video, unless I've chosen to change it at some random point, is Narrative Alchemy. And what I mean by narrative alchemy is taking something that somebody else did and changing it into pure gold. Taking something that another player did, an action that they took, and making it so important, so valuable, that it can never be forgotten in the campaign again.
Under the water?
Oh yeah, this is an amphibious assault.
I don't do well with water. I don't think I can go down there. Why don't I'll stay watch. I'll stay watch.
Why aren't you good in water?
I don't like water.
You can hold your breath, right?
Probably.
Nothing
What if
happens
I
when you
hold
get wet.
on to you and push you along?
Are you gonna be alright with Caleb going without you?
Remember our swimming lesson? You
I
just
don't like it though. They brought me to this river. And they drowned me in it. I can still feel the water in my lungs and my ears and my nose. And then nothing.
And I think this is the core of TTRPGs, taking something that a player did and making it crucial. And I really wanted to talk about this. Another way that you could discuss it is basically like a domino. Having a player do something that begins to knock over things and creates a massive world-altering implication later down the line. And in fact, I've seen memes about this over on the D&D meme subreddit of somebody doing something really innocuous and then it leads to, oh, whoop, we killed God. My bad. But no, that's what TTRPGs are all about. The player actions having consequences, which leads to other actions, which leads to other consequences, so on, so on, so on. Because I've played in campaigns where the DM didn't take actions into account. They had a story they wanted to tell, and the players were just supposed to go through the story, and nothing the players did caused any change in the world. And you know what? Most boring TTRPGs I've ever played. Because that's not what the point is. The point is to tell the story of the player characters. So we're gonna do what I usually do. We're gonna go through some examples from live plays, probably Critical Role. I would have told you what it all was in the spoiler warning there. And then after that, we're gonna talk about how you can do it and why it's important. So let's go. Honestly, I have two examples specifically from Critical Role Campaign 2. I wonder which one of those I prefer. I promise I'm gonna talk about the other campaigns at some point. I've watched Campaign 2 multiple times, so it's easy to remember what's there and know where to find those moments. So don't judge me. What do you, oh. Do you guys think that someday I'm going to have to actually meet some of the cast and face the fact that I've talked about them for literal hours? I actually hope not. I hope that they never acknowledge my presence. Travis commented on one of my videos. I hope that's it. I hope I never get anything else because it's giving obsessive fangirl. This is why I don't go to conventions. All right. Anyway, so yes, we're going to use two examples from Critical Role Campaign 2. Specifically, we're going to talk about Henry Crabgrass, and I know that might seem a little bit weird, but I promise it is going to apply into this, as well as the Bad Luck Bandits, because The Bad Luck Bandits is probably one of my favorite events that has ever happened in any campaign or live play ever, and it's hilarious. So I had to find a reason to talk about it. So these two examples show a very important concept that I'm trying to discuss that I talked about in the beginning, player-driven storytelling. Player-driven storytelling is TTRPGs, and I honestly don't think there's anything that anybody could say that would change my mind about that. The GM is supposed to run the characters through the story, tell the story, but the story advances because of the players. So doing that is really crucially important to having a fun game where players feel like they have agency, and players should have agency. So you need to make sure that they feel comfortable at any time that the actions they take are going to be important. If they're not, what's the point of playing this instead of just having the GM tell a story or read a book out loud to them? So the DM or GM is supposed to be very crucial in facilitating and adapting the player choices into consequences, which then lead to other choices, which lead to other consequences, so on, so on, so on. And we're gonna start with this concept by talking about Henry Crabgrass.
Oh, crabgrass. So, just recently, a friend of ours was dug up from the earth and came back to life. Did you feel a great disturbance in the ground lately? I don't know.
Yeah, there was some movement.
What?
Yeah, there was a guy under there, and then some people came by, and then they took him out.
There were multiple people that took him out?
Hell, it was like a small group or something.
Wow.
Now, Henry Crabgrass was a one-off NPC in Critical Role Campaign 2, and he wasn't that important necessarily. But the reason I want to talk about him is because it is an important factor in the first step of this concept. And I gave a spoiler warning, so nobody better be mad about this, but Molly Mock Tea Leaf was one of the characters who died early on in the campaign. And then the players realized that maybe he had been resurrected far later in the campaign. They visited his grave, found it dug up, didn't know how to find more information, and so Jester plopped down in the grass and decided to talk to the grass using the Speak with Plants spell.
Like a day-night cycle?
Oh, yeah, like a day-night cycle. Yeah, they got you. You're smart.
Well, I've never had a conversation like this before. I'm kind of catching myself off guard with the things I know. It's really wild.
Now, it would have been very easy to just have this be a very simple NPC that we didn't have to talk about again. But instead, Matt decided to take this moment to turn it into gold and create one of my favorite NPCs of all time. Honestly, this moment is hilarious, and the way that Matt plays the character is fantastic. It's just fantastic. I don't know how else to put that. But the reason that I'm pointing it out is this is a perfect example of the first step. Matt took an action that another player had and said, I'm going to run with this in an interesting direction. Yes, I could just say the grass tells you what happens. I could say the grass is this ominous entity of 1,000 minds talking and they share this information with you. But wouldn't it be more fun to just have somebody for you to talk to interact with, to have a living, breathing character in the world that will give you this information? And that is the first step.
But I'd put it like maybe like 50 or so cycles back.
Oh. Whoa, that was a while. You have a good memory.
Well, you know, not all crabgrass is as cool as me. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Jester. Do you have a name?
I don't think so. You want to give me one?
Yeah. Henry.
I'm Henry. Henry Crabgrass.
Henry Crabgrass. And I'll pet Henry.
When a character takes an action, the DM should figure out what is the interesting consequence to that. Jester talked to the grass. Therefore, the grass now has sentience, it has its own will, and that is interesting, but it will gladly share the information, which is going to lead to the next action, which is to chase after wherever Mollymock is, which will then lead to the next consequence, what happens when they find him.
Consent, please.
Oh, may I pet you?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Thank you.
I really like this guy. He's so nice.
Is Henry a single blade of crabgrass, or is
It's
he
like a cluster of crabgrass.
A collective Henry, or
you get the sense they're not
Like
individual
I am
blends. It
Henry.
is a cluster of crabgrass roots that kind of encompass a hive crabgrass mind, if you will, that is now known as Henry.
Henry says it was like 50 days ago that Molly came back to life.
no way.
And there were like multiple people. Do you know how many people? Did you get an idea?
I cannot believe I'm about to say this because I don't think I ever thought that I would talk about this on my channel whatsoever, but South Park, you know, the animated TV show for adults that's been running for far too long at this point, much like The Simpsons. The point is, the writers of South Park have said something that I agree with a lot, and that is that a story should lead to consequences which lead to actions like this. Something happens, therefore something else happens. It shouldn't feel like a bunch of totally tangibly unrelated things that just happen all over the place. When something occurs, it should lead to the next important thing occurring. It should feel natural to develop. And that's what Henry Crabgrass is. Jester used speak with plants, and the plant became alive and had its own personality and talked, and Matt took it in a more interesting direction than just having the plant describe things to her. It was funny, it was great, but it led to the next development.
Oh, it's kind of hard to tell when, you're grass. But there were, I remember feeling like a bunch of footprints.
Okay.
Did Molly come up on his own, or
did Molly, did
people?
When the body came out of the ground, was he moving, or did he start moving after he was out?
I heard some digging, and then I heard some chanting.
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 Ooh, that's a good one to know. Did you hear what they were chanting? Can you repeat any of it? You have a good memory after all.
There are limitations to a grass, apparently. I don't even know what language we're talking now. To be fair, I don't really know what language is. It's really wild.
It's all downhill for Henry from here.
Existential. He speaks.
Henry.
And you know what? I think it would have been really easy as a GM to have somebody speak with the grass and say, I don't know, I'm just grass. I don't know what happened. But that doesn't lead to the next action. That doesn't lead to consequences. And that's boring. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. Make sure that the actions that the players take leads to the next consequence. Because if you don't, the players feel stuck, the campaign feels boring, and it feels like nothing is ever happening, and therefore the story can never progress. Nothing is worse than a stagnant story, and it just becomes really boring. Which leads into my next example, the Bad Luck Bandits. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Bad Luck Bandits are this series of characters who popped up multiple times through Campaign 2. The first time they showed up, they ambushed the party while they were sleeping, surrounding them and insisting that they were going to take all their valuables.
And a brief tickle hits the back of your head, Caleb, as the thread perimeter is broken.
9, up.
No.
As that happens, a voice goes, I wouldn't do that if I were you. At which point you immediately whip around and you guys see in the vicinity, standing directly around where you're sleeping, you see 9 figures. 9.
Are they mightier than us, though?
This number coming up is so creepy, guys.
And you know what? They seemed to be in a really good position. They had everybody at crossbow point. I was gonna say gun point, but they had everybody at crossbow point. They were ready to take out the party. They had all of them down and pinned. They were ready to take everything. And then in a moment's notice, everything went terrible and their poor leader Trevor was thrown into the air and incinerated immediately.
And there's a moment where the spell comes to an end and he goes,
Please.
Clever motherfucker.
Oh no.
Fucking
rays on that guy.
Fucking punch him in the face!
I'm jumping in the cart. Okay. But the last thing you watch is the leader who'd been talking with you gets slammed up in the air by about 2 feet with an uppercut from a mystical lollipop. And then all the rays incinerate him into ash in midair. He is scattered to ash. One of the other guys gets hit with his own bolt. You watch as he gets a blast to the side of the face and just goes down unconscious onto the ground. His crossbow fires wide into the air and just disappears into the night sky. As soon as this happens, as you fall unconscious, all these hits happen like this Mexican standoff that just suddenly all this action happens at once. Caleb goes down. 3 other guys double over. 2 of them go, wait, hold on. What happened to Trevor?
Oh, Trevor's with the
You're
wind.
unconscious.
I just failed my first death save.
Okay.
Oh, already? Why'd you roll? He didn't even tell you.
About 6 seconds went by.
Oh, Jesus.
See, Trevor done put his fucking nose where it didn't belong. Unless you want to join him, I'd get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna walk over to Caleb while I'm like doing this, and I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on him.
All right, go for it.
I don't know if you know, but syphilis is fucking contagious.
This led to the entire group immediately giving up, and an interesting lesson. Mollymuck, the same character I was talking about earlier, ends up telling them that they need to do something better, that this is just pitiful. They're not good at this. They're not good at it. They could go do literally anything else, make better life decisions, make something of themselves. Don't be bandits. Actually create something, and gives them a little bit of gold so that they can do so.
Now that the leader's dead, who's the de facto leader here? Speak up, be bold.
Two of the ones go, me. They both look at each other and shoot each other down with these horrible glares and go, no, it's me! Again, at the same time. Was it, fuck you, at the same time. Oh, and they're just kind of frustrated and going.
Do you know parchment shears stone? Do you know? Yeah?
Boulder
Parchment shears. Do you know that game?
Yeah.
Pick your leader.
Do it. Come on.
They both kind of come together and
Kiss yourself, Matthew.
all right, the one on the left, who looks to be a scraggly redhead, probably in his, probably close to 20 or 21 years old, wins the bout of Boulder Parchment Shears.
Step forward. Would you agree that the previous leadership of this group has probably failed you on some level?
No, I'm gonna say so. Yeah. No, I mean Trevor.
Look where you are right now, son.
I know. Trevor's turned to ashes.
It was a bad decision.
It was very bad. He was a very bad man.
Perhaps you should rethink your line of work.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're all right. Right? And all the boys go, right.
Molly, I think they also need a bath.
All right, here's the deal. If everyone's fine.
Yeah.
You gonna bathe me?
Maybe. Put your clothes back on. This is just embarrassing. All of you, don't pick up your weapons.
Your weapons.
They start taking their clothes, and the one who this young kid beat at Boulder Parchment Shears, like, really fucked up, Zenny.
Do not criticize new management until it's had time to take full effect.
Right.
Right.
They all start putting on, bits of their clothing. Most of it they're just kind of holding under their arms.
Now, line up. Line up.
How many are there?
9.
No,
8.
not
No, there's 8 now, and 3 of them look like they are hurting pretty bad. One of them has their own crossbow bolt in their chest that bow through, and is still there, and he's like, just kind of holding it.
Now you're all going to leave tonight. You're going to find something better to do with yourselves. And remember, no matter how you die or where, we can identify your bodies without the heads. So be careful. And I'm going to give and Align 1 gold piece each to each of them in a row.
Yes. I like that a lot.
They all look very confused.
Now for this, you promised that your terrible bandit days are over because you're really not very good at this. I mean, we were barely paying attention. This is pathetic.
Well, you were barely paying attention.
Well, let's not cast aspirations on new management. It's only been 2 days.
They all kind of lower their head, and one of them goes, "Yeah, Zenny." He's like, "Shut up."
So you're all walking away with 1 gold.
Right.
This is an action, and it would have consequences. Later down the line, they meet the bad luck bandits again. And this time, the bandits are trying their best to do better. Unfortunately, they run into the exact same group, and almost the exact same thing happens as Bo smacks one of them in the back of the head, knocks him out, chokes him, and brings them into the ground, while the rest of them realize what they've done and immediately say, we're sorry, we didn't know it was you. And they're told once again, you guys can do better than this. You don't have to steal. You don't have to do any of this. Why do you keep doing it?
Kidney punch right to the side of the
I'm gonna just cover his mouth and lay him down in the grass into another blow to his temple to try and knock him out.
Whack, and his eyes just roll back.
Lay him down in the grass.
Quickly declare yourselves.
As you guys are...
Whoa.
The one guy stands up to the guy who's yelled out, goes, "We are so sorry. We are so sorry. We didn't know it was you folks. Our most sincere apologies." And the other guy's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, don't understand. These are the ones that...
How's this management working out?
He's the ones that ashed Trevor. They put the guys put their hands. Oh shit! We're so sorry. They dropped their crossbows.
Caleb lets slow fizzle.
We didn't mean nothing. We're so sorry.
I'm gonna fire one crossbow bolt at that guy.
Go for it.
And the next time they're met, they're actually trying to be honest. They're trying to do better. They're trying to be trappers. They're trying to hunt. They're trying to improve.
See as they approach, they look at you and they go, fuck. And they look at each other and they both drop their weapons and go, we didn't know. We're so sorry.
Wait.
We're so sorry.
Wait, who are you?
We're just. Look, we're hunters.
You again! You fuckers! I shoot one in the leg.
Roll it.
I was hoping so hard.
Cheers.
22. So
Clean
hard.
emergency, we can go down there, but I think no, this is more exciting. This is a great show.
8 points. I don't get sneak attack. 8 points of damage.
Okay. Which one do you shoot? The one who's holding the torch or the two that have the bows?
The bow guys.
Okay. It's like, it's like, shit! No, please, don't incinerate us. We didn't know. Look, we're not thieving. We're just hunting.
They were just hunting, not.
Yeah, but they're assholes.
We listen to you. We listen to you.
Have you been stealing in general?
No, we haven't. I swear to God. We didn't mean anything.
You can read minds. Read their mind. Zone of truth.
The party met them, they made an action, it had a consequence. The party met them, it had an action, it made a consequence. The party met them, it had an action, it made a consequence. That is good storytelling. And more importantly, it lets the players know that they've had an influence on the world. If the players take actions and nothing changes in the world, nobody adjusts because of the players' actions, what is the point of playing? Because in the real world, we make actions. We choose to do something on a day-to-day basis. And by doing that, our lives change. The truth is, a lot of people like to ask who they are. And the answer to that is, what action did you take? A lot of the times who we are is defined by a few different moments where we choose to make a decision, rather than our entire lives. We make decisions. It influences the world around us. We can choose to make the better decision, or we can choose to make the worst decision. And when we're playing TTRPGs, that's how we should feel. When we're playing these characters, we should feel like we can take an action, we can take a choice, we make a good choice, and therefore the world around us changes for the better or for the worse. We have influence over it. What is the point of playing these games if not to do that? To not explore what it feels like to have that influence? Because we do in the real world. But we don't necessarily always have the capacity to deal with the consequences of the actions that we took. But in a TTRPG, we get to explore what it would be like to make different actions. That's good. That's life. That's human to want to experience that. And that's what a GM should be facilitating for the party. It should feel like no matter what you do, you'll have an influence in the world. Because no matter what you do in real life, you have an influence on the world. And it's worth exploring that. It's worth feeling like there's something more that can come from that. Honestly, the first time that I ever watched the whole Bad Luck Bandits thing, I felt a little inspired. Because it was this group of people who were down on their luck, who were constantly encouraged to do something better, and eventually did something better. It felt like the players had actively done something without having to kill anybody. Well, they did the first time, but not the second or the third. And that's great. So how do you do this in your own campaign? The first thing that I would honestly tell you to do is make sure to provide a clear expectation of the players. If you do something, I'm not going to forget it and it will apply later. You don't have to remember every single action they take, but when they take an action that you know will have a consequence, write that down. The pencil is far sharper than your mind could ever be. So make sure to be prepared to write it down so that you can apply it later. It doesn't matter how later. In session 1, 2, 3, I think it was session 3 of the campaign that I'm currently running, the players performed an action and spared one of the NPCs. And then recently, over 2 years later, I had that NPC show back up to help the party. They took an action, they chose to spare somebody, and that individual showed back up, having lived their life to help the party out. It is so much more interesting when it feels like the world is actually alive in that way. You don't have to do a lot to actually make this happen. All you have to do is take into account what the players have done and think about, all right, what's the natural conclusion of that? And make a new action for the players to take based off of that. And eventually, after you've done this over and over and over and over again, you will reach the end of the campaign. And that is, honestly, pretty incredible. It's good to feel like you have an influence on the world, and that is why we play TTRPGs. And it's why I love moments like this, to be able to learn from it, to discuss it, and to create even better moments. And to give my players agency. Because that is always the most important thing. To make them feel like they can be the heroes, because why else would we be playing this? So, wife, do you want to tell them to like, comment, subscribe?
Like if you thought that Jay was good in the video. Comment your favorite thing about the squirrel. And subscribe if you think I'm cool.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.